Yo, guys, before we get into this champion review, we want to remind you that we are going to be streaming this Saturday on the 15th over at twitch.tv/ according to low elo.
Yes, come join us. It is just in celebration of our 100th episode. Our last stream went really, really well. It was really, really fun. I look forward to hanging out with you guys again. Though there won't be any giveaways this time. I'm sorry. Bring a friend. Let's see if we can't get enough and do 5v5s. That would be super fun and super rad, guys. But Saturday, starting at noon, going till whenever, I would say probably till about 5 p.m. And this is Pacific Standard Time. So those of you on the East Coast, that is a 3 p.m. start. Hopefully that's not in the way of Worlds. I mean,
I'm sure it will be.
NA is going to get crushed anyways, so
You don't
it may
wanna
not
watch
matter. We'll have some live reactions to Worlds too while it's going on. So join us, invite a friend, hang out.
Hey, and that's the real prize.
That is.
That was stupid. Okay. Anyways, in the link to the description, link tree, join our Discord. That's how you can play with us. We're gonna be hanging out. We'll fucking do TFT. We'll do everything. You know, we'll just come out, hang out. Again, that is twitch.tv/ according to low elo. Enjoy the episode. All right, guys. Happy Friday. We are back on Champ Review. It's been
Happy friggin' Friday, like seriously. I'm stoked it's Friday, guys. It is been a long week and we got we had some Worlds yesterday. We had some more Worlds. No, we didn't have any yesterday. We have some today and then we got some for the weekend. So it should be good. It should be fun. But we're going to hit you with some older content.
Yep. So today we got Poppy and Pantheon, two champions that received full visual and gameplay updates, VGUs.
I like that we have Poppy here too because she's a World's relevant champion right now. So I think this will maybe shed a little bit of light on what's going on in the meta there. So I like this personally.
So yeah, let's not delay. Let's get right into this. So we got Poppy, the Keeper of the Hammer. What was her old title?
The Iron Ambassador.
Whoa! Oh my god!
Man, she was a sight to not behold. Let me tell you.
This might be the ugliest,
worst champion model, and people hated Lux. Just throwing that out there. This is so bad.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, like I said, I don't even know what else to say about it. Just easily the ugliest champion.
Easily.
The old model. Obviously, new Poppy, incredible. It's perfect.
It is.
I mean, we've mentioned a few times, like, I think personally Warwick might be one of the best reworks of all time. Like, everything, like, from aesthetics to gameplay. Poppy is pretty good.
She is. They were able to keep some of the stuff that made her unique in her own way. But, let's
do it. So let's look at her past versions here. So again, full VGU. Yeah, I'm gonna try not to look at that picture that's right there. So let's see. Old passive, Valiant Fighter. When Poppy takes non-turret damage higher than 10% of her current health, she reduces the excess amount by 50%.
Yeah, I don't really know what that means.
I mean,
I do, but like it's so basically, right, if she has 500 health per se, 10% of that is 50.
So she takes more than 50 damage?
If she takes 51 damage, she's only taking 51 and a half. So if she takes 100 damage, she's only going to take 75. So whatever that difference is after the 10%, she's going to take half. So she's going to take the full 50, and the rest of that's going to be cut in half. So, a rather interesting passive. It was probably one of the more mathematical passives that they had back in the time when this existed, when this came out. I think this came out. She was released in 2010. Yeah, January of 2010. So, definitely probably was one of the more sophisticated passives at the time.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's not usually. It's like, he X champion gains 5 armor.
Nasus, lifesteal.
Yeah, there you go. It's like a one sentence. I mean, this is still a sentence, but
Right.
And then let's compare it to her current passive, which I had no idea was called Iron Ambassador. That's pretty cool. I didn't realize. Maybe I just didn't know that Old Poppies, that was her title.
I just have never known the name of her new passive. Actually, I don't think I knew the names of any
It's
of her
always
skills besides the W and the E.
I always call it was just her buckler, right? She
Buckler
throws
or
that.
shield toss, I always called it.
So let's look at it. Innate, periodically, Poppy's next basic attack is empowered to throw her buckler, gaining 350 bonus range and dealing 220 to 180 based on level bonus magic damage. After it hits, the buckler then falls to a location near the target over 1 second, landing and remaining there for up to 4 seconds. Poppy can move over the buckler to retrieve it, gaining a shield for X amount of her maximum health for 3 seconds. If the buckler kills the target, it bounces back to Poppy instead of falling. Enemy champions can move over the buckler to destroy it. I think it's cool. I think the only thing... Okay, I didn't realize the cooldown scale down. I did not know that. Okay.
I didn't know that either.
That's cool. I mean, obviously, it's a lot better than her. It gives her a little bit more, like... what's the word I'm thinking of? I don't want to say agency, but, like... I mean, obviously she's a melee champion. She's a tank, but
she makes her play more tactical, I think.
I mean, it's like, yeah, you got to know. I mean, you could always, because if you can last hit a minion with it, you get the shield. Then you could fucking, you're guaranteed the shield, and you can go in and trade.
Right. It's actually pretty disgusting if you can time it out. It does. It provides like a next level to her play. Like, she's pretty standard run at you type champ, right? She's got to run at you and hit you with the abilities, but with the buckler and how you use it, I mean, you don't know where it's gonna fall if you don't get the last hit or the kill on something. But you can still use that to your advantage, right? Like, if it's to fall next to someone near a wall, you can kind of bait them to go step on it and maybe hit them with a heroic charge. It just gives another dimension to her playstyle that's not just a basic run at you, no range, very, very short range melee style champion. I like it. I think it's way better than her old passive.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And the shield is nice. I mean, the bonus magic damage actually kind of creeps up on you. You don't expect how much damage it could actually do, because it's bonus to her basic attack. So whatever basic attack is, and she's getting magic damage on top of that, it just makes it a little bit more difficult to itemize against. Not totally difficult, don't get me wrong. It's not like a next level difficulty. It just helps because she's a tank, and so she's not going to have a lot of damage in general. So it's just like a little extra boost to that area. And also, I mean, the quote when she yells "shield to the face" is pretty good.
Right. Alrighty. Tell me about her old Q and new Q.
All right, the devastating blow, the old Q. Weird that it's like a mace. It actually looks like Mordekaiser's weapon in the icon, which is strange.
It definitely does not look like a hammer.
No, not at all. Poppy's, it's an active, so Poppy's next basic attack is enhanced to deal magic damage up to a cap. So this is kind of what they rolled into the Iron Ambassador. It is an auto attack reset, so that is something to look at. It does damage on the target's max health, by the way. So 8% of the target's max health, which was pretty gross. At 100% obviously AD ratio with a 60% AP ratio. So that's one of those they throw in for like when you get Baron and it gives you AP or whatever. You have it just gives a little bit extra roundness to that ability. Nothing too crazy. I think an 8-second cooldown for a skill like that is insane. That's like really fucking high.
Scaled down to 4 though. Plus back then if you had 40 CDR,
true.
It's probably like what 3 seconds because half. If it was 50, it would be 2.
Right.
So a little less, like 2.5, 3. That's still pretty good.
A little note. An enemy target must have a minimum. So if you're looking at the max health at max rank of this ability, they must have a minimum of 34-38 max health in order to reach the maximum bonus damage of 275. So it's still not a huge ability to do a lot of damage. It's just an extra poke ability, really to help you farm. It being an auto attack reset doesn't hurt. If we look at the new one, Hammer Shock, which is way fucking cooler. Poppy smashes her hammer in the area in the target direction, dealing physical damage to enemies hit. Against monsters, the damage is based on their health ratio against monsters, the damage based on the health ratio is capped. The impact then creates a field for 1 second that slows enemies and then ruptures to do the same physical damage. Now, this still keeps that 8% max health scaling on it. So that's pretty freaking cool. And it's a 90% bonus AD. And now, again, the old ability was magic damage. This is physical damage. Same cooldown ratio. It does scale up in mana. The cast time, it does have a quarter-second cast time. But it's an interesting ability. You can kind of try to use it to get people to go into the field if you're trying to kind of zone them to get the slow off and whatnot. But it does a surprising amount of damage. You would be surprised when you get hit by that thing sometimes how much it fucking hurts.
Oh no, definitely. Especially if you get hit with both parts of it.
Yeah, like absolutely.
Slam down, get slowed, and then I'm excited because like I know Poppy is mainly being played jungle right now, so a lot of people are building her with like Chem Tank. But since Iceborne Gauntlet is coming back, I feel like obviously her Q is not an auto attack anymore, but like you can Q, get the first part, and then you have the Sheen proc with the Ice Field slow, boom, and then it pops again and it gets the slow just stacks on it.
Yeah, you just go in and you throw the buckler at him too.
Yeah, exactly. And you
got that little combo.
It's gonna be dope.
No, for sure. I like it.
Yeah. And plus, I think the biggest buff though is the icon actually looks like a fucking hammer.
Huge buff. Icon buff. Let's go.
All right. Moving to her W, Paragon of Demacia.
Oh, I didn't even know that's what it was called.
Yeah, it's a.
Why does she even have anything to do with Demacia?
She's a Demacian champion.
Is she? But she's a Yordle. Shouldn't she be Bandle?
Yeah, but I mean, Yordles are Heimerdingers in Piltover.
Right.
They're from from Vandal City. I don't hate Poppy. I think Poppy.
I mean, not people. Everybody in Runeterra. Yeah, that's the one. I thought they all hated Yordles. Was that old lore?
I think that's old lore.
That might be old lore. Okay.
If they did, then my boy Heimerdinger is being lied to. All right. Anyways, so Paragon of Demacia, passive. Poppy gains bonus attack damage and bonus armor for 5 seconds every time she deals or takes damage, stacking up to 10 times. That sounds insanely broken.
Yeah.
Active. Poppy gains maximum Paragon of Demacia stacks and bonus move speed for 5 seconds. Okay. This is a horrible fucking ability. Why the fuck?
Yeah.
Why would you?
This just looks like Strut, except with armor and.
It could like potentially always be. I don't know. That's so weird.
It's really stupid. 12-second cooldown.
So let's see, up to 10 times. So it stacks 10 times. So at max rank, it's 3.5.
That's 35 stacks.
That's
35
lot.
Points.
That's pretty good.
Weak, but 35 armor is good. It's like a whole some mythic items only have 30 armor.
Exactly. Like this is but like, oh my god, that's kind of frustrating.
It's really you use it for the move speed though, right? You want to be able to run in so you can combo that with the E, and that's how it's still used today with her current W. Tell us about that one.
Steadfast Presence. Passive. Poppy increases her total armor and total magic resist by 10%. Doubled to 20% while she is below a 40% maximum health. And then active, Poppy gains 40% movement speed and creates an aura around herself for 2 seconds, causing all enemies who attempt to dash into or within to be dealt magic damage and knocked up for half a second. If a target was successfully interrupted, they become grounded and slowed by 25% for 2 seconds. This might be one of the most broken fucking abilities, and this is exactly why she's very relevant.
Yes.
Because every fucking champion has the dash. She just says, nope, you're fucked.
The anti-Callista, the anti-Lucian, Vex.
Literally every fucking champion.
Azir. I think the reason they're using it a lot right now, too, is because Azir is popular. And here's a champion who wants to slide, using the Shurima Shuffle, as everyone calls it. And, Steadfast Presence said, no. You have to get outside of my range before you can shuffle away. Or I'm going to get in between you so you can't shuffle away. And I'm going to pop you up. But that pop-up, dude, that thing does a surprising amount of damage.
I was going to say,
30 base.
70% AP scaling. I'm going to go fucking AP Poppy, But no, yeah, it does. And then the fact that you're grounded, you can't flash afterwards.
No.
That's fucking insane.
Right. You can't flash, you can't... it's It's disgusting. I think this skill is 100% why she's relevant at any point in time. Literally.
So that's why, I mean, you got to try to bait it out.
Right. You have to.
Unfortunately.
That's the only way to play against her. And if she's smart and it's like, cool, I don't need the movement speed or whatever, then okay. But yeah, it's a gross skill. Like, oh, Lee Sin is another champ I didn't mention here. Lee Sin, who's got like 60 million dashes, not getting away from Poppy. I'm sorry.
Pretty sure she like counters, especially if you're looking at pro play. Like,
Most
if I had to
champions.
guess, like 80% of all champions, she just destroys.
Right.
Like, even think about Thresh Lantern. You can't take that.
Thresh Lantern, you can't use Gale Force. I mean, you can. You're gonna take damage. You're gonna get the passive, but you ain't getting the dash. You know.
It's a gross ability. It's very gross.
Yeah, there's a reason. Like I said, there's a reason she's being, or like you said, there's a reason she's being played pro because it's just disgusting. Okay, let's get down to the heroic charge, which is more or less the same through both iterations. So Poppy dashes to the target enemy, dealing magic damage and carrying them with her. So it's a knockback, not really a knockup, but a knockback. If they collide with terrain, she deals bonus magic damage and stuns them for a second and a half. This thing is pretty fucking gross too. You just have to make sure that if you see a Poppy, you stay clear from the walls and don't let her back you into one because she will back you into one with her damage and with her steadfast presence. And then if she can, she's just going to slam you.
Also, really good combo with the Azir.
Extremely good combo with Azir or
Nivea.
Talia or J4 or Nivea, anyone who can put terrain up. Insanely good combo. The only difference in the new ability is that she travels, I think, a little bit further. She travels 400 units as opposed to 300, and she deals physical damage instead of magic damage, and then the duration of the stun scales up from 1.6 to 2 seconds. Really not a big deal there, but it's the physical damage part that's the
It's a
big
lot.
change. It is.
It's just doubled again. Oh yeah, right.
It is. They did drop the range on it, looks like, by 50 units. So is that a Teemo, right? I think Teemo's 50 units, or is Teemo 20 units?
It's at 50.
Okay, yeah. So they dropped the range by a Teemo.
All right.
So, yeah.
And here we go. The ultimate, which is they're vastly different. I barely remember this one. Diplomatic immunity. I actually remember that name more than anything. That sounds very familiar.
That's just a common phrase. I want diplomatic immunity.
I feel like just hearing, I could hear like an EU caster like saying that in a team fight. Diplomatic
fair.
immunity. Like that's just one of those names. It's like.
That's fair. That's fair.
All right. So active Poppy focuses the target enemy champion for the next few seconds, which is 6, 7, 8 based on levels, dealing them increased damage and becoming immune to all effects not originating from her target for the duration. This is the original like 1v1.
Yeah. Yeah. It was just a stat buff.
It just felt like it felt like a better Kale alt. Old Kale.
I can see that. It's just kind of a lame ultimate, honestly. I just fucking hate that shit.
It's like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna take my 1v1 and just ignore everybody. I mean, it's lame, but it was very overpowered. Like
right,
6, 7, 8 seconds.
It's just boring. I'm so like her new ultimate is so much more interesting, so much cooler.
Keeper's verdict, baby.
So much more usage.
All right, active Poppy charges while be slowed by 15% for up to 4 seconds to increase Keeper's verdict range and knockback distance over half a second after the first half seconds of the channel. That's a mouthful. Keeper's verdict can be recast at any time within the duration. Recast. Poppy releases the charge to launch her hammer forwards or upwards, dealing physical damage to enemies nearby and in an area in front of her and knocking them up for 1 second. If Keeper's verdict was charged for at least half a second, it deals 100% increased damage. I did not know that. And enemies hit are knocked back up to 3,400 units towards the enemy's fountain. Additionally, if no enemies are hit in front of Poppy, she sends a shockwave that travels in the target direction until it collides with an enemy champion, which causes a hammer to erupt. Targets hit by the shockwave or the eruption receive the charged effects.
Yes. Disgusting.
If the charge is interrupted or completes without reactivation, Keeper's verdict is channeled and the ability is put on a 15-second cooldown. That is something I'm surprised they haven't like nerfed. I could easily take that away from her because I'm just like, especially in pro play, like you're coming for like a dragon fight, and the Poppy can just threaten the ulti and just like swing it above her head, and then she's like, no, just kidding. Like
Right.
I'm just gonna hold it back, and then if you guys come in, I have it again in 15 seconds.
No, that's like a huge part of playing this champion. Like, can you just bait them just by swinging it around?
You just zone them.
Yep.
And then enemies knocked airborne are revealed and are rendered untargetable while being displaced if Keeper's verdict was charged for more than half a second. Yeah, again, best. It's so fucking good.
No, it's disgusting. I mean, the knockback, even if you just use it for the knock up, that's just such a like you don't need a jungler that has a gap closer because you've just created a gap closer by not allowing them to move, right? Your Poppy, they can't move away from you, so it makes her an easy champion to gank for, which is why she's prolific in the top lane. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
You can totally fuck your team though, because like, oh, you're about to your teammate's about to kill someone, and then you like miscalculate. Granted, the increased damage part does a lot of damage, but like you could not calculate it very well and just knock the target. You could save an enemy.
Yeah.
Which sucks.
You could also knock an enemy jungler out of a dragon or baron pit and steal the smite.
Yeah,
that's like one of the best uses.
Yeah, you say bye-bye.
Or that assassin who's 10-0 comes running up on your team. You're like, get the fuck away from me.
That's good, dude. Yeah, and just overall, just her visuals are so fucking good. Like, there's so much better.
So much better. So, the inevitable question. What's the best skin?
And are we talking about old Poppy? Or because if you go look at Lolly Poppy...
Yeah.
Rand, do you remember this skin?
Yeah.
This is a thing of nightmares, dude.
Dude, it's supposed to be an Oompa Loompa, which I guess is also kind of a thing of nightmares in general. But...
Yikes.
Yeah.
But,
no,
yeah,
old Poppy is definitely either Scarlet Hammer or Battle Regalia, because Battle Regalia was just sick.
Look at her
new
stuff.
Poppy though. I don't know. How come the Chinese Lollipoppy not the stuff of nightmares? Like, I don't.
Usually
I don't
the
understand.
the Chinese splash arts are way better, especially for like old stuff.
Right. I do like in the Lollipoppy though they kept the one nightmarish face in one of the little lollipops.
Okay.
Like that's pretty good. In terms of splash arts, like Blacksmith is really cool.
Yeah,
Noxus is really cool because she looks like a little Darius. I didn't realize she had an astronaut or a hex tech. I don't think I've ever seen those in game. If I had to like pick the best, I feel like Battle Regalia is just really sick. Like that's probably my favorite. That or Noxus.
Oh man, I do like Ragdoll.
Raggedy Ann.
Yeah, Raggedy Ann, little sad Rammus there.
Yeah.
I really like Snowfawn just because like I like the Christmas skins and she looks really good as like a reindeer.
Yeah, that's
she
true.
has the giant like bell as her hammer.
Right.
That one's cool.
Right. I like that the astronaut's like a little engine. It's got a little throster on the back of it or whatever on the hammer. That's pretty cool.
I don't think she has a bad one. She looks pretty badass in a few of them, and then like they're good.
Ever since they fixed them, her old ones. Bleh.
Yeah.
Don't bother looking at it unless you want to have a nightmare.
Shall we move on to Pantheon?
Yes, the Pantheon, the Bruce special, as I like to call it.
I was gonna say, what if we just had? We have a friend named Bruce. He didn't used to play League a lot, but when we got him into it, he just loved Pantheon so much. He refused to play any other champion, no matter what the fuck we were doing.
Seriously, it was pretty funny. He was like, "I'm just playing Pantheon. I don't care." Like, but Bruce, do you want to learn? Like, no, I just want to man drop in on people, and that's all I want to do. So leave me alone and let me do that. And it was like, you know what? Let's play around that. At least we have someone who knows what they want to do. You know, it's hard to hate on that.
All right, so let's do it. Tell me about his old passive.
Young Pantheon with the, I don't know if it's Aegis or Aegis. I think it's actually supposed to be pronounced Aegis, but I've always called it Aegis. So we'll will satisfy the old gods. Aegis Protection. The innate Pantheon gains a stack of Aegis Protection every time he lands a basic attack or casts an ability up to a maximum of 4. Upon reaching 4 stacks, he consumes all stacks and gains Aegis Protection. Pantheon. So Aegis Protection. Pantheon blocks the next incoming basic attack from an enemy champion, large monster, or the next incoming shot from a turret. Broken for tower dives. Stacks of Aegis Protection cannot be gained during the blocking. Also, you cannot gain 2 Aegis Protection at the same time. So you have to wait for it to leave before you can start stacking it again. Now it's been changed to Mortal Will, which is a similar style thing, right? It's a 5-stack passive. Pantheon generates a stack of Mortal Will whenever he lands a basic attack on hit or casts an ability, stacking up to 5 times. At 5 stacks, Pantheon's next basic ability consumes the stacks to become empowered with an additional effect. Each ability has its own effect, so it's listed in each ability's effect. Pantheon gains maximum stacks of Mortal Will upon starting the game, completing a recall, and respawning. So he starts with it, is basically what they're telling you.
It's a very basic. It has the same like flavor as his old.
Right.
Obviously, it doesn't block the auto attack.
Right.
But I don't know. I like it, and it obviously it like I said, it enhances his abilities at 5 stacks, and
very reminiscent of like Rengar.
Sure. It's very, very simple, very easy to understand, and
this is the one that like I do like these ones that like modify your abilities, right? Because like it's simple, but it's only simple out of necessity because it's more complex everywhere else, right? So
exactly.
Let's move on to the old queue.
Really quick, I wanted to ask you: do you know what Pantheon's host name is, or did you not know this?
I can't remember his name. I know he has a name, and
because Targonians are all aspects, and they're like, I don't know if you want to call them spirits. They're gods, right? They inhabit a human host.
Yeah, that's basically what it is. I don't remember the
I had to double check because I was right, but I had to double check. Atreus is his name, and Pantheon is the constellation of war. So he is. Yeah, there you go.
Yes.
So if you didn't know, you know, Atreus is his name.
Yes.
Okay, so let's look at his old Q, Spear Shot. Active, Pantheon hurls his spear at the target enemy, dealing them physical damage. Certain death causes... What is certain death? Certain death causes... Oh, it's the crit. Okay, right. Okay. That's what I remember. First of all, this was a point and click. Very OP.
Yeah.
If you don't remember, anyone remember that. And then when they are below, I think it's a passive. Yeah, it's a passive on his E. But if enemies are below 15% of their max health, his Q and auto attacks will crit.
Yes, for free.
For free. 100% crit. And then it is increased by 25% for if you have an Infinity Edge.
Right.
I just remember you can last hit so fucking well with this dude. Like, it's...
Oh, yeah.
Just clear minions, no problem. Okay, so let's move on to his current Q. Way better. Comet Spear. Active, Pantheon charges while being slowed by 10% for up to 4 seconds to increase Comet Spear's range after 0.35 seconds of channeling. Comet Spear can be recast within the duration. So recast. Pantheon hurls his spear in the target direction that deals physical damage to enemies hit. Increased against enemies below 20% of their max health. There you go. But reduced by 50% against enemies beyond the first. Total damage is increased by 105% against monsters and reduced to 70 against minions.
Okay.
So that's good. They kept the spirit of that, but I mean, it's just on your Q.
Right.
And then releasing the ability within 0.35 seconds causes Pantheon to instead thrust his spear in the target direction, dealing the same physical damage to enemies hit and refunding 60% of Comet Spear's cooldown. The thrust damage is not reduced against enemies beyond the first. If the charge is not interrupted or completes without reactivation, Comet Spear is canceled and his ability is put on full cooldown, but refunds half the mana cost. And then with the Mortal Will, his passive, Comet Spear gains 20 to 240 base damage plus 115% bonus 80 bonus physical damage affected by the previous damage reduction. Consume the stacks upon recasting. All you got to know is, especially if you're doing it like the melee, the thrust, and you have full stacks, this thing fucking hurts, dude. If you're going like, you know, because okay, let me ask you this. Would you consider him a bruiser? What would you consider him?
I've always thought
Fighter?
of him as like a fighter, like not quite a bruiser, like just under bruiser is more of a fighter. I always use Yasuo as my example for a fighter, but he's tankier in that aspect where he can kind of flux that range there.
I guess the question doesn't really matter because I'm gonna be like, this guy's just gonna build lethality like
Mm-hmm.
everyone else. So like, if you have like Eclipse, and then
He's kind of like an assassin now.
yeah, I guess so. You could say he does that
He
thing.
does a metric fuck ton of damage. Is what he does.
So yeah, I mean, regardless if you thrust it or throw it, it's gonna hurt. And then of course it's gonna do the increase. What is the increased damage? Does it say what the increased damage is?
The secondary. Nah, this is secondary physical. That must be increased. That must be it. Okay, here you go. Okay. Increased damage is 155 to 455 plus 230% bonus AD. So it's just it's not quite a double. It's a little bit more than a double.
It hurts.
It's this fucking thing. There's a reason this thing plays jungle, mid, top, and support. Like, just depending on what's in the meta and what's viable at the time. This thing is ridiculous, and that's just the Q, guys. That's just the Q. That's not even including probably his best skill, which we'll get to in a second when we go over his old W. Aegis of Zionia, which who the fuck knows what that means? I don't know what the hell Zionia is, but I'm glad Riot just like got away from that because that's a dumb name. So active, Pantheon dashes to the target enemy, dealing them magic damage, stunning them for 1 second, and gaining Aegis protection. So that is a literal reset on his passive, which we discerned earlier was pretty gross. It is a magic, or it was a magic AP scaling ability.
100% AP. I just remember playing Earth and like I think his old alt scaled off AP. Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
You could just build AP, Pantheon, and Earth and just one shot motherfuckers.
It was disgusting. It was fully disgusting. The new W is called Shield Vault, which is just a better name, but it is more or less the same skill, right? Pantheon leaps to the front of the target enemy's location. If the target's within 800 units upon arrival, he deals physical damage and stuns them for 1 second. So he leaps, but they can leave. They can dash away, where he just leaps. He doesn't follow. He only goes the 800 units. Or he only goes the distance that he took to leap or whatever. With Mortal Will, Pantheon empowers his next basic attack within 4 seconds to have a cast time and strike the target 3 times over a brief period, dealing 40 to 55% based on level, 80 physical damage per hit, up to 120% to 165% based on level. Each hit is affected by crit strike modifiers and applies on-hit effects at 100% effectiveness. Empowered Shield Vault resets Pantheon's basic attack timer, and Pantheon will attempt to basic attack the target at the end of the leap. So, still scales on AP, but deals physical damage. Wow, that sounded really stupid. But it's disgusting. This is how you set up 99% of his combos. You jump in, especially if you have the Mortal Will on it, although it doesn't matter because you can use all different types of the Mortal Will. Even the Q is pretty freaking solid here, as we mentioned. Just depends kind of what your build is looking at. If you're more of a auto attack base, then this is probably the better one to use. If you're just more of a raw damage, the Q is the better Mortal Will to use. So you use this to get your Mortal Will, cast your Q, and annihilate the poor sucker who's sitting right in front of you. It's also why Eclipse is a really good item on him.
I was gonna say the other thing is this is kind of similar to like Renekton. If you take press the attack and you have your Mortal Will W, this will proc press the attack immediately.
Yes.
3 auto attacks, boom, 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 and then
it's fucking gross.
it's good. I like abilities like that.
Right.
Just it's very
super synergy, right?
All right.
But yeah, give me the old E.
Heart Seeker Strike.
I don't even remember this ability.
No. We already went over the passive, which is it critically strikes all enemies that are below 15% max health. And then the active Pantheon channels for 3/4 of a second, dealing physical damage to all enemies in a cone in front of him. 1/4 of a second at 1/4 second intervals. The total damage is reduced to 60% against non-champions. Very, very, very basic.
I think I remember he would be like brrr, like stab hella fast, and then he'd hit his shield on the last one or whatever. I'm like, wow, okay, freaking King Leonidas.
And then his current E, Aegis Assault, Pantheon braces his shield in the target direction and channels for 1.5 seconds, during which he becomes invulnerable against non-turret damage dealt by enemies from the target direction. This is really important because, like, if you get ignited, you can just face the person that ignited you, pop your E, and then, like, that, it's all damage. All damage.
Right.
And it's a very weird thing to, like, it's a weird interaction, but it works. He also continuously performs strikes in a cone in front of him, dealing 8.3% AD physical damage every 1.25 seconds to enemies hit, reduced by 50% against minions, and up to 100% AD total physical damage. Age Assault can be recast after 0.3 seconds. It does so automatically after duration. Age Assault channel cannot be interrupted by crowd control. That I did not know. You cannot.
I didn't know that either.
Huh. I mean, if you get, I think it means, like, you can get knocked up or displaced, but your ability is still going through, because even though it's a channel.
Yeah. That's
Okay.
kind of interesting. Kind of gross.
And then it says recast. Pantheon slams his shield in a cone in front of him, dealing physical damage to enemies hit. And then the Mortal Will, after recasting, Pantheon gains 60% bonus movement speed for 1.5 seconds.
Okay.
I want to say
ability's fucking broken.
I think when he was when the VGU first came out, I think this ability could block turret shots.
Oh,
but
absolutely.
They got rid of it.
It absolutely could. That's what made it disgusting, and that's what made him just such a good diver. Like, yeah, okay, do that and then block the turret shot, so you never had to use the Mortal Will ability on this, because fuck the movement speed. Yeah, it was disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. I mean, the ability, I think, is still disgusting. The fact that he can block any damage dealt in front of him. I fucking hate it. I actually hate this ability for that reason, but I guess he needs it as someone who's, like, somewhat squishy. I don't know. But I guess there's a reason he falls off late, huh?
Right.
All right, and that brings us to the infamous Ultimate. The old one was called Grand Skyfall.
Yeah, that should be called Man Drop.
It should be called Man Drop. I don't know why it was ever called Grand Skyfall, but whatever. Target range was 5,500 units, so not quite global, but damn near. You might as well call it global. It's very similar to like a TF or a Galio ulti. Active. Pantheon begins channeling, and after 2 seconds leaps into the air and becomes untargetable. He then blinks to the target location and plummets down, striking after 2 seconds and becoming targetable once more. Enemies within the impact zone take magic damage increased by up to 100% based on their proximity to the epicenter, and are slowed by 35% for 1 second. Grand Skyfall's cooldown is reduced to 30 seconds if the channel is interrupted or cancelled. The minimum magic damage was 200 to 500 damage at max rank with a 50% AP ratio. So yeah, AP Pantheon hit someone right in the center, you're blowing them up with 1,000 damage plus 100% AP.
It's just so funny because, like, you just be chilling and then all of a sudden you just see this circle open up around you and you're like, what the fuck? And then just slams in, and then you'd immediately W stun and then fucking just one shot you.
Yeah, it was disgusting. You knew you were dead if you were anywhere close. Like, if he caught you, you're like, fuck. The new ulti, Grand Starfall, because he's an aspect, which is similarly a god, but also a constellation, sort of. Hard to explain. Starfall makes sense in terms of the lore. Still should be called Mandrop because, same casting range, obviously, 550.
Wait, hold on. I had no idea it passively gave you armor pen.
Was just gonna mention that. I
What
had
the
no
fuck?
fucking clue it gave you that. So that's pretty disgusting. No
I
wonder
had
he
no
builds lethality. So, active. Pantheon channels for 2 seconds, then leaps high into the air, vanishing and becoming immune to crowd control until he reappears. While in the air, Pantheon channels again for 2.2 seconds and grants sight around the target location half second into the channel. After 0.8 seconds into the channel, Pantheon prepares for landing by hurling his spear to the target location over 0.2 seconds. That deals 40 to 190 based on Comet Spear's rank, plus 115% bonus AD physical damage to enemies near its landing point, and slows them by 50% for 2 seconds. So, before I get to the last part, Grand Skyfall left a circle. This leaves I guess a rectangle. It's elongated. It's not really quite a rectangle, but think of like a pathway, I guess. It's almost a full lane wide. Not quite a full lane wide, but almost. So over the remaining 1.2 seconds, Jesus Christ.
These are very odd numbers, like very...
Right. Pantheon crashes down and creates a shockwave alongside himself that travels toward the target location, dealing magic damage to enemies hit, reduced by 50% for those hit at the edge of the area. Upon completion of the channel, Pantheon reappears at the target location and gains full stacks of Mortal Will. So expect that he's going to land WU and go full combo on your booty hole. Grand Starfall is put on a 30-second cooldown if the first channel is canceled. Grand Starfall will cast at max range if cast beyond that. The magic damage this thing does is disgusting. 300 to 700 base plus 100% AP. All the way down to 150 to 350 at the end with a 50% AP ratio. But you're using it to get to the fight. And usually you're using it to try to cut somebody off on the backside. It's very hard to land because of the long cast time and the long landing time. It's very hard to land on somebody almost completely unsuspectingly. So you usually try to set up a fight by casting it behind somebody or behind a group of champions to zone them out of the way because they're going to get hit. They're going to get slowed. It's such a wide fucking area. If you're anywhere towards the middle, it's hard to miss them with any bit of it. And they're going to get slowed, and it's going to make it really easy to gank them.
Yeah, I think maybe you can tell me like another one, but I think visually this might be one of the coolest looking alts in the game.
I agree.
Obviously he like takes off into the air, and then this fucking spear just flies down, and it's very hard to like land. If you can hit that first spear, it's very hard to do that, I think. But like they get hit,
that one,
and then he comes flying in. Especially, we'll get to the skin, especially in his Dragon Slayer skin, and he fucking slides and just fucking beats the shit out of you. And then again, you could, like you said, land the combo, and it just looks so fucking sick. Obviously, I think the main reason I think it's better is like one of the best is like compared to his old one. Man, it's a massive upgrade.
Oh, absolutely. Like it's not even close. Like the difference in the old ability to this one is so much fucking better. It's not even fucking close. But we're getting to the age-old question here.
I'm looking at old splash arts. He literally looks the same in every single fucking splash art.
Pretty much. I will say this. I think I preferred his old voice actor to his new one. Although I know his new one's obviously more accurate for like kind of where he would come from in the world. Mm-hmm. But I liked the old one that just kind of reminded me of 300.
Yeah, right. I think they were just trying to get away from him being like a Spartan warrior, and then
right.
Obviously, like you said, to make him fit more into like Targonian lore.
Right. Man, best skin, that's hard. I don't think I ever recall seeing new Perseus Pantheon. I think the Dragon Slayer is probably his most popular. That one's really freaking cool. Baker's funny. He walks around with the is it a pie shield in Baker?
I think so. I just know like I don't know if it's still in his voice lines, but his old voice line, he always said, "I've always wanted to be a baker."
Right. I remember when they came out with that skin line, I was like, "Oh, this is perfect. Actually perfect." I remember distinctly, I used to really like Glaive Warrior. I thought Glaive Warrior was really cool. And I also really liked Slayer. I thought Slayer was really good, like the Zombie Slayer one. I thought that was really cool, but looking at the splash arts, I think my favorite's Perseus, dude.
That was pretty fucking sick.
I have like a soft spot for like Roman and Greek gods and
I didn't realize
things like that.
Oh, his shield's supposed to be Medusa?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
But that's also you could just call it a Naga because Naga do exist. I mean, obviously, you have Cassiopeia.
Right.
So you can make that work in the world because they do exist, or the Gorgons, more or less the same thing. So I think it's probably his coolest. Obviously, Ruined was pretty cool of him as well. But that skin line itself is kind of ruined. So
I'd say for me, it's either Dragon Slayer or Baker.
Okay. Fair enough. Other than that, guys, I don't have much else to talk about here. I know on our next champion review, we do have another couple big boys in Gragas and Mordekaiser. Currently not sure how soon that's going to drop with all of the preseason news coming out.
Yeah.
We have a lot to talk about for ages, and so if it gets put on hold again, I do apologize for those of you that love this series. Sometimes the more relevant things do take precedent over the champion review because that's always going to be there. Always going to be there.
Right.
As
We
more
want to
champions
try to
get release. We'll have more.
We want to try to get as much information like when it's released.
Yes.
We will want to cover it as soon as we can. So
yes. Other than that, guys, I don't really have much else to say other than, keep sharing us with your friends. We are noticing an uptick, especially on YouTube. A lot of you guys have been watching on YouTube. Thank you. I know we ask a lot of questions and we talk about responding to our Spotify polls and questions. You're more than welcome to answer those right on YouTube in the little box. Hopefully I'm at the bottom somewhere and I'm pointing down to the comment box. More than welcome to answer there or even start a discussion there. A few of you have been starting some really good discussions in the Discord. So I know I say this all the time, but if you're not in the Discord, get in it. You get usually some first news about what's coming up. I like to leave little spoiler nuggets in there for guys. And that's also where you'll find links when we do streams and whatnot. We try to leave them on the social medias, but also Discord will always have a link. There will always be a little event thing where we're going to do something fun. So that's a great place if you want to connect, great place to talk. We do talk to everybody as well.
So, yep, in the description of wherever you are listening or watching this, just hit the link tree. The Discord is there. Come on in, have a fun time, and yeah, it'll be cool to meet some new people and talk with you guys about the game. But other than that, it's Friday, baby.
Friday, fuck baby, fuck yeah.
NA is probably going to be 0-18 by the end of groups week 2, or 0-18.
Don't say that.
I saw a funny clip or thing that said like if not a single game is won and they do go 0-18, it's gonna replace the 0-6 TSM year. Like that's
it has to.
They're like, TSM fans are rejoicing because something worse has happened.
The ex TSM fan in me is like, oh yes,
the 9-man sleep, dude.
Yeah, don't remind me.
All right, guys. Yeah, no more reminding, but make sure you like, rate, leave a review, whatever the hell you want to do. And we will be back next week for the patch. So enjoy your weekend, guys.
Yep, later, y'all.